On a not so sunny day in the capital of Holland, Amsterdam, sitting here with Eli. Thank you for talking to me once again. We once talked a couple of years ago.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yes. You had good questions. You were insightful.
Oh, well, that puts up the the barrier now. We talked about Advaita then. Now we're here for the subject of the Enneagram. My first question should be, how come so many people from the Advaita scene are also very interested in the Enneagram?
Well, first let me say that I don't know what Advaita is. I never used the word, my teacher never used the word. It's just some phenomena that has grown up in our community that calls itself that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really what it's about. But I know that, and same thing with Enneagram, people have so many misunderstandings of what it means. Really, what we're all here for is the same reason. We're here to wake up and be free.
Yeah.
We're here for happiness.
And it doesn't matter which label you put on it.
All the labels are a lie.
Are a lie?
Yes, because you believe the label is real, and the label is just the finger pointing at the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look behind the label. If you believe the label is a something, an Advaita community, an Advaita something, it's a lie. There is no such thing.
Mm-hmm.
So to look behind the labels to see what the label is pointing to, you find at the end what we all want is the same essence, the same truth. We all want to wake up. We all want to find permanent happiness. And so then the question arises, how can we be happy in this world of suffering? We look around us at the people less fortunate, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking what's happening, what we humans are doing to each other. In the name of religion, in the name of boundaries, in the name of economics. It's really heartbreaking. So how can we be happy? And the answer is, every one of those people who are being bombed and raped and destroyed wants to be happy. And so, rather than jumping into the suffering with them, if you're willing to be happy irregardless of circumstance, then there's a possibility that your happiness is not self-centered, not based on pleasure, not based on your immediate experience, but based on the truth of yourself. And this happiness can be transmitted from heart to heart, and then no matter if you're in the midst of the most horrifying consequences and circumstances, you can still know the truth of yourself, you can still be free.
And is that truth something that has been there always? Of course.
Of course.
Otherwise it wouldn't be truth.
That's right. Truth is what doesn't come and go, my teacher said. So everything that comes and goes, not truth.
Ah, so I am not true.
Yes.
As this.
As a body, not true.
Still, it feels like I'm very
yes, that's
there.
The nature of trance is it feels real.
Yeah. Trance.
Yes. Yes, it's a trance. It's a group trance.
Yeah.
It's like at night when you're dreaming, if you're in a deep sleep and you're in a deep dream, and you see other people and you have other conversations and events happen and there's a world, there's whatever there is, and you wake up. Where did it go? You didn't have to kill it, or you didn't have to fight with it or deny it. You woke up.
It just vanished.
Yeah.
So what is real?
What doesn't come and go?
And what doesn't come and go?
That's the question. And when you can answer that question from your own experience and not from a concept, then you know who you are. And when you know who you are, then you will know freedom. It's causeless. But if I tell you the answer and you believe me, that's another religion.
Yeah.
That's Advaita.
Yeah. So you would call Advaita another religion?
Yes.
Another cult to join or club to join and
yes.
start reading the same books and agreeing with each other. And
and following the same practices. See, the thing is, there's no problem with agreeing with each other. We were in a common community, and we have common culture, we may have common tastes, but it's the practice that's called the practice of waking up. It's impossible. You can't practice waking up. You can't practice enlightenment. You can't practice knowing yourself. So people turn Advaita into a practice of who am I, who am I, who am I, or okay, no, I know this isn't real, or some kind of talking to yourself, creating a trance, a spiritual trance of what you call advaita or non-duality or whatever you call it, in order to calm the situation. But it's not about calming the situation. It's more radical.
So is being busy with all that kind of stuff just postponing the real stuff, or the real...
Well, who can say? I mean, it seems, for some people it's postponing, for others it's ripening.
Ripening. Okay, so it still has a purpose.
Everything has a purpose.
Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with anything. It all has a function.
Yeah.
But once you know better, stop.
Stop, yeah. Done with that.
Everything, done with everything. Everything that comes and goes, be done with it. For just a moment.
Yeah.
For just a moment you're done with everything that comes and goes. Everything. No future. No past. No body. No me. For just a moment. You see what's here. Then you will taste truth. You'll taste the truth of yourself. Then life can begin from there. That's where it starts.
So it doesn't matter what age, what circumstances, what kind of body, fat, thin, dark skin, universal.
Universal. Same consciousness. Same Buddha heart in all being.
Yeah.
That's what Ramana Maharshi means, that which is alive in your own heart.
And how come it brings so much peace when you tell us that?
It feels good to hear the truth. That's beautiful, and it's important, and it's essential. That's why I'm having this meeting with you, so that more people can learn of the possibility. But that's just the beginning. Most people settle for that. They settle for just getting the high of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go to meetings to enjoy it with your friends, and you get to feel the high of that moment, that satsang, that meeting, and then go out, have a coffee or a beer and a smoke and talk about it, and that's missing it. That becomes a misuse. That's advaita.
Yeah.
Okay. See, but if you use it, if you just hear it once, that's enough. Just once. To hear it, receive it, and not move. To be willing to stop.
Yeah. Still, Eli, I'm so curious about this thing called the Enneagram, which you are going to talk about here in Amsterdam. Is it a useful tool to dismantle the personality, or to get to know the personality so you know there's no guilt in it or no fault?
What the Enneagram does is describe the false identity as ego. So that you can see that it's a mechanical, structural machine. That what you call me, what I call me, is a machine. It's predictable. You can say, oh, I was just upset. But then, if you take that, I was just upset, or I was just under pressure, or any of the millions of statements that people make about themselves in any given day, and you deconstruct it, you look back at what's the structure of it, you find it's a machine. It's not me, and there was no spontaneous upsetness. It was all mechanical, robotic. And there's only 9 kinds of robots in this human species, because it's a planet for backward souls. And so we are very,
Planet for backward souls?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's taking so long, People, at least you'd say since the age of enlightenment, people would wake up and forget religion. Yeah, but you can see that didn't happen. You can see that people are following a trance for thousands of years. So it's a planet for backward souls.
Yeah. Okay. You say there are 9.
There are 9 animals, 9 types of human, and when you start to see which type it is, you get to see what your traps are. You get to see where you're most identified. You get to see where you get hooked, where you become a victim, where you project. You start to see all the different structures of the animal, so that you cannot take it personally, so you can stop it. So in some cases, for example, laziness might be the drive that runs your machine. It doesn't appear lazy on the surface. On the surface, it can be very hardworking, can be very industrious, but there's a deep laziness about what's essential. And unless that's uncovered, it runs unconscious, subconsciously. And then what happens in that particular case, in the laziness, is there's an avoidance of anger. Because anger is dangerous. Anger could hurt somebody. Anger is not socially acceptable. So I'll make believe I'm not angry. I'll go to sleep. And then there's a deeper and deeper sleepwalking. And then the issues that arise could be alcohol, sex, drugs, unhappiness, overeating, whatever it is. Those issues then get addressed on the very superficial level. You can go to therapy, you can go to workshops and work on being more assertive or work on being less this and more that. And all of that is just the very superficial. But if you go down to the deep rage that hasn't been expressed and the deep laziness under that and the deep despair under that, then you start to see the structure of the animal. Then you find a gateway out.
It sounds great. For me, if I think I look down deep inside, I think my basic thing is sadness. Is that something that is also can be found in the Enneagram types? That
Sure.
sadness is your basic.
Yeah.
Because when I listen to music, it's almost all those kind of songs that go like, oh, here comes the rain again.
Yeah. So the sadness, every fixation has sadness. For some, it's the core. For others, it's just a buffer. And the sadness really, in your case perhaps, is a way of avoiding the deeper feelings of despair, or a way of wallowing a little bit in this despair.
Yeah. And is this something you do yourself? You have these big books about the Enneagram. Should you start? Because there's something recognizable in everything you read about stuff. You think, oh, but that's me too, and that's me too. And
Yeah. So 99% of the Enneagram literature is about the personality. When I heard it, I realized that was wrong. It's not about personality. It's about character fixation. It's about what's deeper, what the personality runs on. Because we can see people with the same fixation have very different personalities. So it's not about the personality, it's what's deeper. So most of the literature you read will be confusing.
Yeah.
And most everyone I read that has typed themselves, most everyone I've met who type themselves, they're very usually wrong. Because we don't really have a clear sight into ourselves. We believe our own propaganda. We kind of stop at a certain ledge that's comfortable.
Yeah. And not go deeper.
Yeah.
You're going to give several talks here in Amsterdam. Is that a good place to start, or
Sure.
But you say it's advanced, so it's for people who know about the Enneagram, or who want to go deeper, or
Everybody.
everybody. Okay. And how does it work?
You start by seeing yourself. And we start to see different examples of the different robots. There's 9 robots. And when you see it, you see someone else who has your same fixation. You go, oh, of course. That's what I've been avoiding. I'd much rather think of myself as a sad person, not an angry person. Nobody wants to think of themselves as an angry person, especially since I never get angry.
Yeah. And have you have you found out yourself, Eli, what kind of robot you had inside?
Mine's an easy one, yeah. Easy one. Outlaw.
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 You've been a cowboy in a previous life.
Yes.
Outlaw, meaning
Robot number 8.
not wanting to confirm.
Definitely not conforming. Breaking all the rules. You know, I've been arrested many times. I was a revolutionary during the Vietnam War. I was a federal fugitive. I lived underground.
It sounds like a fun life to me.
It was.
Yeah.
Very fun life.
So nothing to get rid of, or
It's not about getting rid of anything. Freedom does not require your doing anything. Freedom is causeless. It's not about changing your personality or your lifestyle. It's waking up. When you're in the dream, it's not about changing the way you act in the dream. That won't do anything. You're still in the dream. You wake up from the dream. What difference does it make?
And what does it make a difference?
It makes a difference in the sense of that we have to treat each other well.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be kind. You have to be compassionate. The problem is that then people hear that and they try to be. And you can't try to be compassionate. You can't try to be kind. Because the very one who's trying it is the robot. And the robot itself is not compassionate, it's selfish.
So, could I say love comes into the play when you start becoming free?
Love is the truth. Love doesn't come and go. Then love lives this life. Love lives this body. As it does anyway, but it's not veiled anymore. It's really about removing the veilings to yourself. It's unveiling yourself. So that you stand pristine and naked. So that you're open, you're transparent. So that the love that you are shines forth. Lives the life, speaks the words.
And was that always the case?
Was what always the case?
Was love always expressing itself through me, but just the wrong way around, or?
Yes, but it's veiled.
Veiled, yeah. Missed.
Missed. And it's missed because of the identification that who you are is not love, but who you are is this body. When you say your name, you refer to love. Very different to say your name and refer to this body.
Yeah.
So it's a mistaken identity.
So it's the same love with millions of different names. Eli, Patrick.
Same love. Same consciousness. This is what it's meant that we all have the same Buddha nature. It is really just one. It's like if you look at a hive of ants, millions and millions of ants, each individual, each has a personality, each is separate, and it's really just one hive.
Yeah.
It's really one organism. It has one mating, it has one sex thing. It's one organism that survives with millions of little parts.
Yeah. And how come, Eli, that you've been doing this for 30, 40 years, bringing this loving message, how come it doesn't bore you?
What would be more interesting?
I don't know, but you still talk about it as if it's the first time you tell someone.
It
to
is.
me.
It is. It's always the first time.
That sounds a little bit confusing because you've been talking about this for so long time.
But if I talk about it from what I remember from what I said before, it's boring. I don't know what's going to come out of these.
Always fresh and new.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Life can be fresh and new, not boring. The reason your life is boring is because it's based on the past. And based on the past, it gets projected into the future. And that past and that future is boring. It's dead. It's conceptual. It's lived with an internal story that you tell yourself about what's going on and the missing of the moment.
Yeah. You talk about this in several countries, America, Europe. Is there any difference in the questions you get from Germany, German people, Danish people?
You know, every culture has its own flavor, its own trance, its own fixation. So like we talk about the Enneagram fixation, every culture has it. And so you can see it when I come to the Netherlands, you can see the Dutch culture. And it's very different, of course, from the German culture, very different from the Swiss, the Australians, the Americans. They each have their own fixation. And so, but everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants the same thing. So there are different flavors, you know, just like there's, you know, different menus.
Yeah.
And some are better cooks than others.
But the way you talk about this is then also different in the different countries. If I listen to a talk in Germany from you, I will hear a certain kind of different flavor. Or
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Germans are more mental.
Yeah. And you could imagine that there's a lot that's what I feel when I go to Germany. I feel a lot of guilt in the air still from the World War. And
it's better, to me, I started going to Germany in the 80s. I've been going every year since 84, I think. And It used to be much heavier.
Yeah.
Now it seems to have opened up, and I really like what's happened with the German psyche. It's really, gotten a lot more open,
Yeah.
less guilt,
And can you?
but still socially responsible. So it's not about getting rid of the guilt. It's like it's been well used in the psyche of the people I've met. It's been used to examine themselves and to go deeper. And so I really appreciate the German people for that. There's a depth that you don't find in some other countries.
And people say about us, the Dutch, that we're very open to this message. That this is like the hometown for people talking about this. That everybody welcomes them and has ears for it. Is that the case, or?
Superficially, yes.
That's
part of the whole psychedelic thing, That psychedelics opened us all up in the 60s. And this is one of the homes for that opening. And so in that sense, it's very open. But the great trap that I found because I've also done every psychedelic many times, is that in that moment of awakening with psychedelics, it doesn't last. But what does last is a conceptualized idea that you're awake. And so what I find in many psychedelic communities, like here, is people who are conceptually awake. They have all the concepts, they have all the ideas, they've had the experiences, but it hasn't gone all the way through to where it's a moment-to-moment living reality.
And is this freedom, has it got depths? Let's say, are you more free now than you were 10 years ago? Or is it just you found freedom, that's it?
There's always more. So really, when you are free, life begins. Everything before that is like a larval stage. And so it's like the caterpillar has a wonderful life munching leaves, and it can't imagine flying. It doesn't have wings. It's not interested in flying. It only likes eating leaves. And then it gets called. This inner calling happens that it's not in charge of. And it cocoons. And when it bursts out, it's a whole new life. It has different interests. It has different experiences. It flies to different trees. It can fly around the world.
Yeah, inner calling. That's a great way to say it. And
well, you asked me earlier about that. You said the last time I saw you, I told you you're on the edge, but you're not jumping. And you said that stayed with you.
Yeah, it stuck with me. Yeah.
And so he said, well, is it true for everybody? And the truth is, most people are not interested. Most people are not interested. They're just interested in munching the leaves, having the best deal they can get, making the best relationships they can make. So the few that are called, it gets in you, and you said, does it stay? You said it feels like a virus. I said, if you're lucky. Yeah, if you're lucky. Most people, they feel it, and then they move on. But if you feel it and it won't leave you alone, if it won't leave you in peace, that's a very good sign that your heart is calling you, that it's time to stop. And there's no practice, there's no method. Really, it's so simple to stop. Simply stop. Everything. Be still. Stop talking to yourself. Stop figuring things out. Stop wondering about what's next. Stop regretting what's in the past. Simply stop. And in that stopping, you'll reveal yourself to yourself. If you sit long enough, still enough, everything is revealed.
Yeah. Breathtaking.
Yes.
So should I go out and start meditating right now? If you say stop, be with yourself, is that a meditation, or with closed eyes, or just stop?
You're talking about a practice.
Yeah.
I'm talking about life.
Mm-hmm.
You can't practice being alive.
Yeah, still looking for a method.
Exactly. And all methods are methods of the mind.
Yeah.
And this is what's beyond the mind. The mind can't go here. So the mind has to stop.
Yeah, great. Concluding this talk, can you maybe two things I want to ask you. Can you warn us for some traps that are we will find along the way when we go this path? You've talked about the trap of not making it into a religion. Is that the only trap?
Oh, there's so many traps along the way. My teacher said there's so many nets in the river to catch the fish swimming towards freedom. Yeah.
And is that part of the practice that we should?
No practice.
Okay, still no practice. Okay.
Every practice is a trap.
Yeah. Anything we can expect from you or maybe your beautiful wife in the near future? New books, new things on the internet maybe, or anything that comes to mind?
What you can expect from us is to stay true and to expect you to stay true. If we stay true and you stay true, the whole world will wake up and be free. To stay true doesn't have any particular shape or form. It's not about the way you speak, it's not about the way you look, it's not about the way you act. It's staying true to yourself no matter what. And if you stay true to yourself and I stay true to myself, this benefits the world. This is what we can expect. This is what we can give ourselves to. See, otherwise, it's all mine. Like, oh, I'm going to look forward to the next something.
Mm-hmm. But still, this is not a very good commercial to get the big audiences. When you say it's very, I love it what you say, but it's not a commercial message. In a sense that people think, oh, I should go and visit the Enneagram meetings and.
You know, if you're called, you stay true to your heart, and you're pulled.
Yeah.
And so, you know, my teacher said if I wore different clothes and shaved my head and called myself Swami, I'd have a much bigger following. He said, just be like they are. You are an American. Be an American. Wear American clothes. Speak with an American speak. And then people can see no matter what you look like, no matter. You don't have to be a Swami. You don't have to be anything special. You can just be yourself. And the truth will come through. So then you follow your heart. And if your heart calls you, you stay true to yourself. If your heart doesn't call you, what difference does it make what I say? Or if I say, oh, there's a great new book, or a great, this will do it for you. Nothing will do it for you but you.
Yeah. No one can give me that push.
Well, yeah, teachers give you the push,
Yeah.
but you have to jump.
Still. Yeah.
It's still up to you to jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. The teacher will show you where the edge is and push you, but then you have to jump.
Yeah.
Nobody can do that for you.
And last time we met, I remember asking you, but when do I know when I'm ready to jump?
Now.
Yeah. No more excuses.
Now.
Yeah.
Everybody's ready. If you hear this, it makes sense to you, you're ready. Most people in the world could not hear this. It would be unintelligible, even if they could speak perfect English. My parents would never understand a word of what I'm speaking about. My father came to meetings. I once had a meeting in New York with a huge group. It was the biggest church in New York. We had this thing was filled. My father was there, and afterwards I said, so, Dad, how'd you like it? He said, well, I didn't understand a word that you said, but I'm so happy these people like you.
That's nice.
And so that's most people. Most people would much rather go to a football game, you know,
Yeah.
go to a concert.
Doesn't that make you sad that so few people are willing to?
One is a miracle.
What is a miracle?
One real one is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrate the reality. Celebrate the truth. Celebrate love. If you get sad, then you just fall in the pit with everybody else.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah. Well, help me out of it, Eli.
That's it, see?
Yeah.
In the pit, help me out of it. That's the egoic fixation of the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to wake up from. It's not real. You're not in a pit, and you don't need any help. You can stand on your own.
It's good that you say that, because we don't name names, but there maybe are some teachers who say you are in the pit and that you need them to.
Of course.
They have
That's
to
one of the
try.
many traps.
Yeah.
My teacher calls it the sheep and shepherd. And so, as long as you are a sheep, there will be shepherds. Don't blame the shepherd for your being a sheep. Yeah, many sheep and shepherds.
Yeah.
But my teacher said, you can't herd lions.
Wake up and roar.
That's right, wake up and roar. Then, no herder, no herding.
Yeah. So I'm still positioning myself as a victim when I say that I'm in the trap and you have to get help, throw me a line to get out of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So right now, if you're already in freedom, let's just make believe.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom is here, you're already in it, you are it. With nowhere else to go, and nothing to do, and nothing to fix, nothing to postpone. What's the difference in your experience?
Yeah. It doesn't feel heavy at all. No. Yeah.
Good.
It's great.
I'm glad.
So people can come and see you in the Roos here at the Vondelpark.
Right next door. Huh?
Yeah. It's 3 days. You give Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I don't know. It starts, I'm not sure. It
The
starts
first.
tomorrow evening?
For 1st of June, or
I don't know. I'm
No.
sorry.
it's all on the website.
It's on the website.
For people who are watching this in another country, you are visiting next Germany? No,
Switzerland after this, and then Gangaji and I will be in Heidelberg, Berlin, and Copenhagen, and Baden-Baden.
And then back to the States.
Then back to the States.
Yeah. And still, to conclude this interview, which we introduced as about the Enneagram, is there any book you can advise that 1% that does
Sure, read mine.
your book about the Enneagram? Yeah.
Self-realization in the Enneagram. From fixation to freedom.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. It's one of those.
Is there a Dutch translation?
There isn't, and I'm very disappointed in that. I think the Dutch should translate it, for God's sakes.
Should we go out and make work of it?
Well, somebody has to translate it. It's been translated into many languages. I mean, it's in German, Spanish, French, Hungarian, Korean.
Yeah.
Why not Dutch?
But is it possible to make a translation of something like that, which would become so precise?
Well, you have to be a good translator.
Yeah. And would knowledge of Advaita be enough to translate your book?
You don't need advaita. You just need to be a good translator.
Yeah.
But you do have to have a depth of your own experience to some degree.
Yeah. And those people are hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe if someone is watching this and thinks, hey, that's a good job for me, contact us and we will bring you in contact with Eli. Thank you for this nice
I'm so
talk.
glad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And-
May all beings wake up and be free.
And greetings to your wife.
Yes,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I've had so many unbelievable blessings in this life, I mean, I'm nobody special, and I've never done anything special. I've always been an outlaw and a bad boy, and to have been graced with a goddess. I mean, Gangaji and I have been together since 1976. I'm so lucky.